What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be diving on into Gods of Sand. This game just came out in a very, very early access right now on Steam, and it's available for purchase. This is a game where you are running a ludus. It's an RPG where you're going to be raising up gladiators to do combat in the arena to make money. It's set in kind of a pseudo-Roman setting where there's lots of fantasy creatures, minotaurs, magic, all that kind of stuff. So honestly, I think there's a lot of room to grow on this one. Just be forewarned before you take a look at it that the game is very early on in its development, so it is not feature complete. It is in like a 0.1 early alpha state. And so, we can see kind of where they're going with it, but a lot of the things that I'm going to be looking at are going to be kind of conjecture, because we don't really know. If after watching this you wanted to check out Gods of Sand, I'll have a link for you down below in the description. You can check that out down there on Steam, and then on top of that, you can also find a link to my Discord and my Twitch stream, where I'm live most days of the week. So without further rambling along, let's go ahead and start a new game, because we've got about 25 minutes to kill, and I want to cover as much ground as I possibly can. Alright, so I'm going to kind of skip through this entire intro period. There's kind of a mandatory forced tutorial that exists inside of the game. I would recommend that they add a toggle just to when you're starting a new game, like, hey, do you want to play the tutorial, or do you just want to straight go into the sandbox? Because the tutorial, it's not that lengthy. You can click through it pretty fast, but it wants me to go to the city. But let's talk about, well, I can't get out of this menu right now, so I guess we'll go to the city because I already clicked. This is the city. This is where we're going to do all of our purchasing and all of the interesting things that will equip our gladiators. So this guy over here is the architect. He allows us to add upgrades to our ludus. This is where we purchase gladiators at. And then over here is the blacksmith, where you can buy equipment for your gladiators. Now, the equipment is system locked, and so what I mean by that is until you reach certain points in the game, like new tiers of gear and new items do not unlock. I don't know the extent to which the game is populated with items just yet. I've played about an hour prior to recording this video, and it looked like I really only unlocked 2 or 3 items during that time. They do come up randomly day by day as you're playing the game, so it's possible that I missed a few just due to the happenstance of RNG, but more than that, I can't really say. We've got to pick a gladiator. Spoiler alert, it doesn't really matter who we pick because the tutorial is going to kill him anyways, but on the plus side, I will be able to give you kind of I guess a little bit of a teaser about how the combat works. So it's more than likely going to want me to pass a day here. We are going to do that. And so this game is based on days and weeks are the two subdivisions of time. If you take a look at the calendar, well, never mind, we'll bring it up later. I guess it locks all these buttons and whatnot when you're in the tutorial. I never like heavy-handed tutorials like that where it locks down the buttons and it doesn't let you go anywhere except for what they intend. Our gladiator is about to get starched. So combat in this game is very, very simple. Top left-hand corner, you've got your HP meter, and then on top of that, you've also got your stamina meter. If you don't have stamina, you can't do actions. If you don't have HP, you can't do fun things like breathing. And so anyways, it behooves you to keep those kind of as high up as possible over the course of a conflict. Unfortunately, our gladiator is about to get pounded because the tutorial forces you to kill your gladiator for some reason. I'm not really super sure why it forces you to send a gladiator in completely and totally unarmed against the boss of the first set of arenas, but it does. Just for thematic tutorial reasons, I guess. Alright, so now we're actually in the real game. So we can talk about the actual content that exists here. This is our ludus. As we buy upgrades and as we do things, it's going to add new little bits and pieces to the ludus. This is our notice board right here. We can send our gladiators out on jobs and send them to be enforcers for the mob, or send them out to guard caravans and things of that nature to get extra paychecks. They can't train while they're doing that, but it does tend to bring in big influxes of money. And so you've got to kind of time it for who's going to be bringing in money versus who's going to be fighting and training, and who's just going to be sitting around eating. You can scroll back and forth if you wanted to get a little bit more screen real estate and see what's going on. This allows us to go to town. This allows us to go to the arena normally, but right now it looks like it's disabled because we don't have any gladiators. So let's go to town, and we'll pick up our first gladiator and see if we can forge them into a champion. So we've got Illy Ovidius. Pretty bad character, in all honesty. Pretty terrible gladiator. All of his points are in HP, so they've all got different stats that you can train and raise up over time as you leave them inside the ludus. You've got strength, agility, dexterity, defense, resistance. You've got intelligence, vitality, and endurance. Strength is damage. Agility, I think, is your hit chance. Dexterity is your crit chance. Defense is your ability to block. so how much you block. Resistance is flat damage mitigation. Intelligence is for spell casting. Vitality is your HP, and endurance increases the amount of stamina that you have. This guy's got a little bit more of a standardized spread, still pretty bad though. And then this guy right here, I would say he's more than likely the winner. The downside to him is that he has terrible vitality, but we can work on that. So let's go ahead and get him in here, and we'll take a look and see what gear we have available. We would like to equip him like a little bit just to give him some extra defense against the mooks that he's going to be fighting. So I'll take some cloth rags, and I will take an armband, and I'll probably spend money on a cloth skirt real fast, just to like boost up his stats a little bit and make it a tad more likely that he's going to survive. These early gladiators, you never know. Like, it's all RNG this early on in the game because your characters don't really have any stats. They don't really have any abilities. Actually, let's put these on the enemy-facing side. There we go. That's a little bit more realistic. Your gear does show on your character, which is something that I appreciate tremendously. Some really cool opportunities there as the game develops for, like, legendary gear that drops randomly and whatnot. It has a distinct appearance from all, like, the random gear that you get from the blacksmith. We are going to want to put a weapon on this guy. So there you go. Now he's going to be quite a bit more deadly now that he's got a bludgeoning implement. There are skill trees for your gladiators. They are very limited for right now. The combat is kind of overly simple, so I think they're going to have to add some extra layers to that as well to make the combat a little bit more interesting and a little bit more tactical. But for right now, the combat is serviceable if somewhat limited. And so anyways, we need to send this guy in, and we need to get him a job. So let's go ahead and we'll go to the arena. I don't know if our guy's going to win or if he's going to lose. Usually they don't die when they lose, so it's not that big of a deal. We've got to face 2 opponents if we want to get the payout, so we'll give it a go. Just be forewarned that this is kind of all RNG right now, just due to the fact that our character is kind of limited in what he can accomplish. So he's attacked us right there, and we did parry it. 72% chance to hit, Big 10 damage out on the front end. We're going to attack again, but unfortunately we were parried. We parried back, 16 damage crit right there. As you can see, stamina is starting to fall, though, so like both combatants are going to have to take a minute to catch their breath. This guy's using a polearm. He's using a quarterstaff. What the quarterstaff does is it sacrifices some point-blank damage in order to give you a couple of opportunities to hit people that are like 2 tiles away. But we've already won the fight, and so the first blood has been spilled upon the sands of the arena. But we haven't earned our paycheck just yet. We got one more fight to go. This guy is also a polearm user. I'm going to go ahead and close the gap. He's going to go ahead and throw an attack out right there, and it's going to be blocked. A double block right there. Love to see it. Unfortunately, he also blocked us, but RNG seems to be going in our favor right now, so I'll take it. He's already charging up his stam. We got a big crit right there, and I have no doubt that we've kind of got this in the bag right now. So we'll go ahead and double charge our stamina real fast. We've parried just about everything he's thrown at us, and the damage that he does get through, largely ignorable. And so, easiest paycheck of my life. We'll go ahead and get them like dinars right there, or I guess we'll get like whatever they are. Denarii? Sure. We'll take the denarii, we'll throw it into the coin purse, we'll go back to base. Our gladiator is going to be wounded for a couple of days. It seems to me that he's wounded for 2 days no matter how wounded he gets. So it seems like there's like 2 states after a fight. Every gladiator seems to need to take 2 days off after a fight. And then if they get knocked out, they have to take like 3 to 5 days off after the fight in order to get better. You can click on a stat right here, and in the meantime, this character will sit around and train that stat. I would recommend that we work on vitality a little bit just to get it kind of trained up. We could go to town, and we could see how much it's going to cost for a training dummy. That gives us double XP while training. It looks like it costs 43. I don't think that's too bad of an exchange, so I'm going to go ahead and take it because I'd like him to train quickly. Like, ideally, I'd like for him to be getting 1 stat point a day. We don't have to pay him till Friday, so we shouldn't have to worry about his paycheck. He should have another fight in him before we get to that point, and it looks like he's already leveled up to 4. That's great. And it looks like he's now leveled up to 5 as well with his endurance, or with his vitality. I wasn't paying attention to his health points previously on the video, so I don't know exactly how much you gain per level, but it's fine by me. Let's work on his hit chance a little bit. I think a couple of levels into his hit chance and then a couple levels into strength will help out tremendously when it comes to keeping him alive, but he's ready for another fight right now. So let's send him on into the arena and see how we do. The fights are going to get harder. This is a scale of 3 fights, which culminates in kind of like a final, I guess, throwdown. I'm going to try and optimize so that I get the first hit right here. You got an 8 off right there. Big parry. Very nice. Like to establish an HP gap about as early as possible. Yeah, let's just keep bludgeoning each other. He's parried my final swing, which is kind of a bummer. I'm going to go ahead and we'll wait up. We parried his swing, though, which is very, very nice. And there's the final hit. He's down. This guy got us down to half health. That's a little bit more sketchy. As your gladiators win fights, they're going to accumulate a stat called Renown. There are certain jobs and certain arena fights that you cannot take unless you have, like, good renown. So just something to keep in mind. He's going to step in. We're going to step in. He's going to shove. Oh, he didn't shove. Interesting. So they must not have abilities just yet. There are triggerable abilities that you can get that are underneath this menu right here. Everything from heals to hits that knock them back to stuns to things of that nature. But still, the combat remains very, very simple in its current form. I definitely think they're going to have to come up with some kind of way to innovate on the stamina system in order to make things more interesting. Like the ability to basically bank stamina into like a blue bar by resting, and like any surplus goes into there, and then you can use the surplus to take like double or triple turns, or use the surplus or the extra points that you've generated in order, or they could just go with focus points, in all honesty. Like as you attack, you generate focus points, and the focus points you can trade them in varying amounts for like an automatic block on the next attack, or a double swing, or anything else like that to kind of make combat a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more aggressive. Anything to kind of speed it up, because as of right now, it's basically like, I bonk you, you bonk me, I bonk you, you bonk me. Maybe somebody blocks, but that's all automated, and there's very, very little player interaction in that system. And so anyways, I was just kind of trying to think about ways that they could add in things to make combat a little bit more spiky, a little bit more in flux, a little bit more interesting, where you've got to kind of decide whether or not you want to go for like a blocking gambit, because your opponent has a lot of focus points, so you could use your focus points to set up automatic blocks just in case he takes a rush at you. Like basically kind of poke and prod mechanics that exist in between the turn-based I hit you, you hit me system. All right. So he's got 2 days of training before we can do anything else. We've got $120 right now. I would like to go back to the market and maybe see if there's any cheap equipment we can purchase for this guy in order to make him a little bit better. There is a leather pauldron, which I think is a cool idea. And we can afford it right now, so I'll go ahead and get one. I'll also buy him a turban so that he's got a head covering. We'll go back and remind me to equip that stuff, but I think we've got to pay him today, too. Yeah, it looks like we had to pay him, and of course, as they level up, their paycheck is going to get higher and higher. So that's just something to think about as you're going along. Like, your champions are going to cost you a lot more than, like, your mooks and the guys that aren't very good. This event kind of sucks. There are events that come up. They're very, very long-winded, though. There's a lot of text to read, and I'm more interested in showing off the gameplay than resolving, you know, like 2-page, 3-page long text events right now. However, I do like the text events. Usually the text events are resolved with either like a yes or a no, or you like pick a choice between. It's basically just kind of like political intrigue and like arena intrigue and just general comings and goings that can end up with you making money or one of your gladiators getting wounded, just kind of stuff like that. We kind of want that pauldron to be in the front since that's the side that faces the enemy. There we go. He's looking a lot better equipped now. His armor's up to 9. I can't really tell exactly how armor affects the overall combat. I would recommend that in the tooltip it tells you what percentage damage mitigation you're getting out of the armor that you have equipped so that you can plan accordingly. But as of right now, system don't work like that. Is he still out for another day? Is he good to go? It looks like he's good to go. So we are on the boss fight right here. However, our character is not going to be able to handle the boss fight. And so we're just going to fight against single gladiators inside the Mook arena. It's still going to be a 2-day cooldown before we can use them for anything else. Oh, this guy's got a Kestis. Nice. Bonk. Nice little block right there, but he worked a little left hit on in. Okay. Nice little double block. I'm actually fairly impressed with this guy's ability to block. Ooh, big crit right there. Right to my domer, dude. It hurts. It stings. The man fed me that 2-piece combo. How rude. There's 19 bucks. It said we get paid 20 to 30, but for whatever reason, sometimes it pays you like 15. I'm assuming it's just like a display bug or something, but every now and again, it says it's going to give you more money than it actually gives you for that fight, so keep that in mind. We've got 2 days of restfulness going on right now, and what is he training? He is currently training his hit chance. All right, we'll give him 1 more day on hit chance. And then what I'd like to do from here is let's get him training on big stick hits. Okay, big stick hits didn't really get anything done. However, if we go for... we can send him out for 7 days. We can send him out for 4 days, and that will give him $74. Apparently, we've got to tutor somebody in the art of combat. One thing you will find is sometimes in the game, some of the translations are not done on the buttons. That's definitely something I would have liked to have seen resolved. Before it went into early access, I'm kind of the opinion that if the game says it supports English, like, you should have everything translated before you put it up on Steam for money. However, it's not really that big of a deal. As far as I've seen, it's only on this button and, like, one other button as I've been playing for the hour, and obviously since there's only one choice, it's pretty obvious what the choice is. I'm just going to let him be abroad and make us some money for a little bit by tutoring that little kid on how to fight for a week, and so we'll come back once that's done. Okay, so after 4 days away, Sergei Florianis is back bringing news that the mission has resulted in a success. 74 bucks right there. And he's all healed up, so we can take a fight on the day that he came back, too. So we got like a big influx of cash right there. I got to decide what I want to do with it. All right. So we've got another fisticuffs boy, although his armor's a little bit better. Ooh, nice double block right there. Okay. Not really taking too much damage. We are going to want to purchase some abilities. That's why I sent him out on the job, is because abilities are actually huge force multipliers in this game. They really sincerely are. Yeah, unfortunately, my man's got a case of the parries right here, but I've got a case of the critties. So, you know, I'll take that. This guy's definitely a more skilled combatant in the arts of defense than some of the guys we faced previously. All right, he's now down. Blood has been splattered all over the floor. I'll get one of the servants to go ahead and take care of that. That is not what a Lannister does. Oh, 26 bucks on that one. Very nice. Extra money is getting paid now. All right, let's go to the city. We'll see if there are any, like, cool pieces of equipment we can buy. There is a helmet, and it is kind of a nice helmet. I'll take it. Sure. And then we've got a wooden club right here, which actually does the same damage. We lose out on a 20% strength bonus, but it does the same damage, and we get extra resistance and defense, so I'm going to do that. Let's swap him over to sword and board for a little bit. All right, sir, here's your new helmet. Enjoy wearing it, and then here is your sword and board, or your club and board, I guess. We've got about 2 days until we can do anything with this guy. I would recommend that we pick up at least one ability before our next fight, although we can afford 2. I'm going to go with Clear Cut. That puts a bleed on your opponent that deals about 11 damage over the next 3 turns, whether it hits or not, which is the nice part about that. It doesn't matter if they block it or not. They still get the bleed. And so it's a nice way to get some free damage off against especially blocky enemies. We could probably go attacks and stuns the opponent for 1 turn. I do like the sound of that. Let's grab that too. Being able to lock out the opponent's next turn seems pretty strong. Seems like it has big strong man energy. We are indeed going to have to make some money, though. Maybe I'll send him out on a job. For 7 days, we get 90 bucks. Or for 4 days, I feel like that's the much better deal. We'll send him back to tutor the kid again. All right, another successful mission. So our cash flow has been restored. On top of that, we can take another fight. And so I kind of want to see these abilities right here and see how they do. I'm kind of rolling up for the championship fight at some point. Let's go ahead and step into this guy. Yeah, ooh, he hits hard. Okay. He's a little bit more beef chonky than I expected. Okay, let's get a bleed on him. There it is. So he's now bleeding. We're going to go ahead and stun him. There it is. And so he's stunned for his turn. That should give us a nice little lineup to just kind of hit him freely. Actually, honestly, despite the 20% strength bonus being gone off this weapon, we seem to be hitting for the same amount. I figured we'd be hitting for like 6 or 7, but we're actually... Ow! Okay, all right. Apparently don't mess with me. I've got a table leg, and I know how to use it. 23 bucks right there. Very nice. I think we're getting closer to where we're going to be able to do... Oh, I've leveled up my strength a little bit, though. It's gone up by a point or two. So that might be the actual factor that's making this work out so well. Okay, so he's got 8 strength now. I don't know if I want to keep that going up. Like, with 8 strength right there, our attack is now 11. I'd say maybe work on defense a little bit since we're going sword and board. I would expect somebody with a sword and board to be reasonably decent. Oh, there's a second arena over here. There is going to be a scary pop-up in this game the first time that you play through when you get to, like, the end of, like, the third fight that makes it seem like the alpha's about to end. Like, a window pops up, and it's like, hey, you have reached the end of the content. Know that everything past this may be buggy or poorly balanced. And, like, there's more content past there, there's more stuff to do, there's more bosses to fight, but it's exactly what it says on the tin with regards to that window. I guess we could go for another... I mean, we could try to take this guy into the arena. I don't know how he'll do with the final championship fight. This one over here pays a bunch. Yeah, let's give it a go. He may get buried, but he may also win. It's kind of hard to say. All right, let's line this dude up. We're going to stun first. We're going to use that opportunity to get our bleed off. That actually is a pretty strong opener. He got us with a shove right there. I don't really care because that's just going to give me an opportunity to get all my stamina back. Honestly, not the play that I would have made, just due to the fact that he has a bleed on him. So the last thing he wants to do is disengage. Like, he kind of wants to stay up in my business, but, you know, he's now down. I think those 2 abilities are actually working really well for us. We're doing all right. All right, Unknown Gladiator is up. What you got for me, baby? Another sword and board guy. All right. Let's go ahead and stun. Oh, he blocked it. Oh, you still get the stun, though, even though he blocked. Okay. No complaints from my edge of the peanut gallery. I'll take it. I mean, it seems a little weird that you still get the status effect when it goes through the enemy. Or, I'm sorry, when it gets blocked by their shield. But, like, I don't know. Far be it from me to comment. All right, we should... Oh, no, I hit the wrong button. That was a misclick. That was my bad. Luckily, we parried, so it doesn't matter. There's another stun right there. There's another big bleed. Honestly, our character's doing really well on the defense right now. Kind of proud of my man. He tried to shove us, but he had failed, and now he must taste the soil. And we've got to fight the champion, which is, of course, the guy that ended our first Gladiator. We're going to want to close the gap with this guy about as fast as possible. Oh, I hit the wrong button. All right, let's move up. I don't know what our chances are of winning this. Like, I'm going to do my best here, but he lit me on fire. So, like, we're going to have to kind of make up some difference here. We are stronger than he is, but it depends if he crits us right here. Hey, we beat the champ. Just barely, but we beat the champ. Victory is ours. Let renown rain down upon my distinguished laurels. We've also unlocked a stick that's on fire. It's basically the same as the previous beat stick we had. The only difference is it's got like an extra attack where you can do like the heavy metal, like a Monomar thing, and like blow fire at the enemy. So, you know, it's kind of cool if that's the sort of thing that you want to do. We are flush with cash, so I think we're going to have to go back on in here and see if there's any good equipment we can pick up. I think that's the next step. The deer skull for 68 bucks. That is the helmet of a champion. That is the helmet of a champion. Probably sell that. I'm going to hold on to the rest of my equipment. Oh, there's tonfas too. Ooh, a spear. I like spears a lot. Spears are really good. Spears are like one of my favorite weapons. It's also a leather skirt, but let's not go too crazy purchasing items right now. So he's going to be wounded for 1 day. So there is a variance, I guess. I know we just bought this helmet, and I feel kind of guilty about it. But we got 2 defense out of that bad boy right there. So that means we can go back to the market, and we can sell off that turban. Get a little bit more cash back up. We'll go ahead and bypass 1 day real fast. Early at dawn, you are awoken by some commotion happening in front of your gate. While you approach it, you can hear 2 men swearing and hitting things. Opening the door is enough to make the noise settle. The 2 men look at you and each one tries to explain. The tall one says, "This is absurd. If you can't maintain your word, you shouldn't have hired me in the first place." The fight began when the employer determined he was going to pay, let's see here, from their explanation, the short one, a fellow countryman of yours, hired a gladiator as a bodyguard to accompany him to the city. The gladiator came late by an hour, said he was stopped by the guards and detained for a crime he did not commit. The fight began when the employer determined he was going to pay half what was previously agreed upon, because as he would cause a bad impression on the host for arriving late. The gladiator stands proud and says, "Damned was the day we lost a war with your country." Let's see here. Ignoring the words as if they were just noises, the short one turns back and says, "I'll tell you what. I'll give you 80 coins if you lend me your man for 4 days. What do you say?" Sure. I like 80 bucks. Sounds good. All right. So our man is back and we've got tons of money because another event happened and it like paid me 200 bucks because there was a runaway gladiator and the guards were tracking him and they were like, "I'll give you 200 bucks if you tell me where the gladiator's at." And I was like, okay, 200 bucks is a huge amount of money in this game. Absolutely, I'll tell you. That's like upgrades for my Ludus. All right, so your gladiators recover faster. I think that's a pretty strong choice. It's 150 bucks. We can get a pig farm, which makes us train faster. A stone floor punishes the gladiator for mistakes. Okay, let's get the pig farm. Maybe we'll get some extra beds for the gladiators, too. I think we can probably afford another gladiator as well. This guy has 12 dexterity? Good God. His crit chance must be through the moon. Look at his vitality and endurance as well. Wow, this guy's pretty good. Honestly, they're all pretty good, though. I'm gonna get that guy. Yup. Pitchfork. Some tonfas. Let's get the tonfas. I'm gonna have this guy train. Okay. So you, sir. Here's a hat. Also, here's some tonfas. Cool. Now, I need you to train strength like crazy. Everything else is great, but we need to get your strength up to 6 as fast as possible. So you just hang out and train, and once you've got 6 strength, I'll feel better about sending you out to kind of get things done. It looks like I can go back in, and I can fight this one again, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. But this is Gods of Sand. I hope you guys liked it. My main observation for right now is just that the game seems very, very simple. I do think that they're going to have to implement some corresponding layers to the gameplay, so extra systems and whatnot. The good news is the game is really, really early on in its development, so there is a distinctly likely chance that those things are all planned. It's just like they're not in yet. I do think that the game was probably released a little bit too early, but I'll say this. If you are going to jump in and check this game on out, understand that you're supporting the early development of the game and that there may be a limit on content and like there may be a limit on mechanics and things that you can actually do with the game for right now. You are exclusively kind of engaging with this game to support the development of it. If that's not what you want to do, you want a game that you can play like right now for like endless hours, I'd say throw it on the old wish list and keep an eye on it and see what systems they add to make the combat and also the management systems a tad more robust. But that being said, I think they've got really good graphical stylings. I love the way the game looks. It looks really, really rad. Like, I love this pixel art right here. It seems like there's been some care that's been put on into it. The attacks have impact. The sound design is quite good. The sound and the backing tracks also sound pretty good. And so I'd like to keep an eye on it and see where it goes over the next year or two. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we had Gods of Sand. Tomorrow we will more than likely have something else. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see y'all tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet. Bye-bye.